YouTube. Damn, son. Soundtrack brought to you by The Bronx, nigga. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy noluckmack, and I'm back with another video. This one's courtesy of my boy Super Wario Bros. You already know if we fuck with everything this nigga dropping. Like, we into just pointless hood shit. Pointless hood knowledge for no fucking reason. Just fuck it. You know what I'm saying? This one's about the Brooklyn gang war, the 5'9" Brims. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say too much. And the real Ryte crew. See, I don't really know too much about the real Ryte crew. I'm gonna come clean. Like I'm saying, I was born in Brooklyn. I grew up there a little bit, but I ain't stayed until my teenage years. I know more uptown, Harlem shit, Bronx, uptown nigga now. But real Ryte niggas, they was popping like when New York, like when the scamming wave hit New York City, real like in the beginning of it, like when niggas was able to bust up Neiman's before niggas was calling Chase Chevys like that early, like, you know what I'm saying, that early. I seen niggas online, they looked like they was getting to it, going dumb. You know what I'm saying? Niggas was going crazy. So shout out to them boys, man. Let's see what niggas is talking about here. I'm gonna switch to the low cam. Pow, pow, pow. Let's do this.
Friend is facing charges tonight in a sweeping gang roundup. Star Brim, whose real name is Yannette Respass, was indicted on racketeering and assault charges. They say she was the highest-ranking woman in the 5'9" Brims gang. That's a subset of the Blood Street Gang.
The 5'9" Brims enterprise was a set of the Blood Street Gang formed in Los Angeles, California in the early 1970s. In the 1990s, certain individual sets of the Blood Street Gang, including the 5'9" Brims, began operating on the East Coast of the United States, including in New York, under what was known as the United Blood Nation, also known as the UBN. In the early 2000s, members and associates of the 5'9" Brims broke away from the UBN and began operating under the New York Blood Brim Army, also known as the NYBBA, which was composed of, in part, multiple subsets known as hoods, which included the 5'9" Brims, the Bloodhound Brims, the MACK Brims, and the Lowrider Brims, among others. Despite having different names and being comprised of individuals from different areas of New York, each subset of the NYBBA, including the 5'9" Brims, maintained common tattoos, communication codes, language and gestures. Members of every set were identifiable as Bloods because they wore the color red. The 5'9" Brims was a gang comprised primarily of individuals residing in and around Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx and Manhattan, New York, and elsewhere. As alleged in the superseding indictment, the 5'9" Brim set of the Bloods is a violent street gang whose members have engaged in criminal activities including drug trafficking, robbery, and fraud, as well as murder, assault and firearms offenses. Between January 2012 and February 2020, the defendants, together with others, conspired to conduct the affairs of the enterprise through a pattern of racketeering acts, including identification fraud and access device fraud, narcotics trafficking, and multiple acts involving murder. All of the defendants' membership in the enterprise is confirmed through evidence seized from cellular telephones and social media accounts, among other sources. They engaged in communications regarding various illegal schemes designed to enrich themselves and the enterprise. In particular, the investigation revealed that the defendants made large sums of money from selling crack, cocaine, marijuana and pills, including ecstasy and oxycodone. They often supplied each other with the narcotics, sharing in the illicit proceeds and passing part of those proceeds on to incarcerated members of the enterprise. Willie Evans was charged as the gang's godfather, or highest-ranking non-incarcerated member, and Jammer Simmons, allegedly, was the highest-ranking member of the Bronx-based Brims. Yannette Respass, which a lot of you may know as Star Brim, was the godmother of the set. She is also a good friend of entertainer Cardi B, which has been well documented. As early as 2012, the Brims was wilding. The Brooklyn set identified itself as the Bread Gang. Around 2015, they started beefing with a rival faction of the 5'9" Brim. This gang is identified as the real Ryte crew.
You niggas couldn't impress, niggas got the back, won't settle for less. Nigga got a Hellcat up on my neck, nigga. Tell my youngest be back in the jets, nigga. Just don't shit get litty. You know shit getting litty.
Yeah, this shit right here. This is how I found out about real right niggas. Cause I'm like, bro, I'm not outside in Brooklyn. I don't know the gangs and shit. I know it was gang. I know 59 Brims because they was there before 2010. Like, you crazy? Way, way, way before 2010, bro. Early 2000s, 05, and even further back. Like, Brims go back. 59 Brims exactly. And I'm not gonna speak on how I know that, but I'm just like, nah. But real right, I just found out with this nigga with the music and all that.
I'm not worried about nothing cause
Niggas is looking like they was getting to the money, man.
traffic, yeah, I keep it with me. You know shit getting litty.
The Real Ryte set of the Blood Street Gang operated in Brooklyn and elsewhere. Real Ryte members were active on social media and often appended the name of the gang to their usernames, and also wore clothing and jewelry with the Real Ryte Gang's double R logo on it. Easy Moolah and Real Ryte Sport are members of Real Ryte. They are also rappers for the gang. They consider themselves Woo and go as far as claiming that Jeezy Moolah started it. Both of the gangs are known for scamming. One thing we did know, they was getting money. In October of 2015, Melvin Pippins, aka Bread Gang Melly,
Niggas was getting to it, man. it ain't hard to see that you got money. What Ice said and paid him for? He said some shit. I'm gonna get my soundboard, man.
was sitting in his car smoking some bud with a female friend. He was near the corner of Beverly Road and East 19th Street. Around 2 in the morning, another car pulled up next to them. A gunman, seated in the passenger's seat, opened fire and struck Pippins in the chest. The woman in the passenger's seat of the car was not injured. She ran out the car, yelling and screaming after the shooting. A few moments later, Melly got out of the car and staggered over to the entrance of a nearby building where he collapsed and died.
Yikes.
Melly was a co-gang member and brother of Marvin Pippins, aka MACK. December 19, 2015. Following the death of Bread Gang Melly, Muck found himself in the Bed-Stuy section of BK on a drill. Sean Peart, aka Real Ryte Estad, was parked on Dean Street, near Schenectady Avenue around 4 p.m. when a white car pulled up near his Infiniti. Allegedly, Muck got out, walked up to Peart's car and opened fire, riddling it with bullets. Estad managed to drive off down Dean Street, getting close to Utica Avenue before ramming into a parked Nissan. Estad, who had been shot several times in the chest, was rushed to Interfaith Hospital, but he could not be saved. This was the first murder charged in the indictment against the Brims. The feud led to a series of violent confrontations between the two gangs, and they sought to retaliate for the murder of Real Ryte Estad by shooting and killing Bread Gang members at any opportunity. On January 3, 2017, allegedly, Real Ryte members, Bam Bam, aka Real Ryte Sport, and Mark Waiters, also known as Telly, found out that a Bread Gang member was at a specific location in the vicinity of Essex Street and Hester Street in Lower Manhattan. Smith and Waiters traveled to the location and shot an innocent person sitting in his car whom they mistook for their intended target. The victim was seriously injured, but survived the shooting. In 2018, members of the 59 Brims agreed to commit and orchestrated a violent assault against bartenders at a nightclub in Queens called Angels, because members of the enterprise believed the bartenders had disrespected another member of the gang. Specifically, Star Brim, who was incarcerated in Danbury at the time, commissioned her subordinates, known as Drops, to execute an assault on the bartenders. Despite being incarcerated, Star Brim nevertheless wielded the power of the Enterprise to orchestrate the attack, and directed multiple 59 Brim members, including
Yo, she Aki though, son. Like, she's
Enterprise
mad
to
brolic.
orchestrate the attack, and directed multiple 59 Brim members, including Lane and Chuck, that Brim's members needed to deliver the message and pop that
you
bomb.
can tell she be knocking niggas out. Her forearms is crazy, son.
One of the bartenders, stating, "I want hands put on them. I don't even want no talking." Defendant Lane agreed with Star Brim that the assault needed to be executed, and that if Star Brim's Drops failed to do so, Lane would take care of it herself. On August 15, 2018, following the orders, Chuck, Love, Zambrano and 3 of Respas's Drops assembled at Angel's nightclub. Surveillance footage inside the venue captured images of the premeditated assault on the bartender. Chuck and Zambrano stood at the corner of the bar next to several women. A woman standing next to Chuck ordered a drink from the intended target and then lured her closer, gesturing for her to lean towards them. As Chuck stood by with a cell phone camera trained on the intended victim, the women next to Chuck grabbed the bartender's hair and, along with two other women, repeatedly beat her head while pulling her over the bar. Ultimately, the assailants threw a bottle at the bartender. Throughout, Chuck stood next to the women with his cellular telephone's camera filming the entire assault. After the attack, the video captured by defendant Chuck was sent to the gang member on behalf of whom Brim had ordered the assault. Dissatisfied with the first attack, Brim continued communicating with other Enterprise members about the assault, and discussed whether the assault was vicious enough, or if the Brims needed to do them more dirtier than that. Another assault ultimately did take place, approximately 2 weeks later, during which several members of the 5'9 Brims, including defendant Chuck, attacked the same targeted bartenders at Angels. On August 29th, Cardi B, Chuck and Tawana were charged with that allegedly. The three of them pelted a 23-year-old woman with bottles and drinks, and attacked another woman. Chuck allegedly recorded it all.
That's the shit. That's the reason why Cardi B is going to trial now. Like,
Prevented anyone from helping. Cardi B and Jackson Tawana, 36, allegedly planned the attack and exchanged cash for it. They all pleaded not guilty and were released on bail. Chuck allegedly served as muscle for Cardi B as just one chapter in his lengthy criminal history. Jeffrey Bush, also known as Chuck, was a high-ranking member of the Brooklyn 5'9 Brims before he was arrested in August 2019. The investigation revealed that Chuck obtained coke from a supplier, which he cooked into crack in his crib. At least 2 young children had been residing there along with Chuck's girlfriend. A search executed at defendant Chuck's apartment revealed that he was in possession of various narcotics, including a bag containing a white, rocky substance believed to be crack cocaine, unknown pills, and a small amount of a green leafy substance believed to be marijuana, as was nearly $15,000 in cash. At the time of defendant Chuck's arrest, a scale commonly used to weigh narcotics was thrown from the window of the apartment and was recovered by law enforcement. Chuck's apartment had various devices, or machines, used to make fraudulent credit cards. This was evidence that there was some scamming going on. Montel Shoemake, also known as Buzzo, is a violent member of the Enterprise. As alleged in the indictment,
this video is dragging. I'm not gonna hold you, man. Tap in with my son Super Wario, get the full video. I'm about to go find some other shit to go react to, man. Fuck with me.